Hello folks and welcome to F1 Live, coming to you live from Spa-Francorchamps. Will Buxton with you as always, and I'm delighted to be joined again by Stoffel Vandoorne. Stoffel, welcome back. A home race for you, of course, on home soil. It wasn't exactly a classic around the undulating turns of Spa-Francorchamps, but Lewis Hamilton is just so difficult to beat at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's really on the roll. Pole position yesterday by a big margin, and yeah, what looked like an almost straightforward victory for him today again.
Absolutely. It was Lewis Hamilton first, Valtteri Bottas second, and Max Verstappen third. We'll get onto all of those results in a moment because we've got drivers immediately, and this one did a phenomenal job. Esteban Ocon, a great drive, a brilliant day for Renault as well. You guys were so pacey. You must be delighted with your result today.
Yeah, we are very happy. It's been a strong weekend since the beginning. Very positive to turn around a weekend like Barcelona coming here. The car's been mega quick, and fourth and fifth was, I think, a great result for Renault, and obviously next week same characteristic and more extreme, so we should have a quick car there too. So the target's we're going to try and do the same or even better.
It's finally coming good for you guys. P5 for you today. You had that new engine, you had that new gearbox, but all weekend, Sector 1, Sector 3, you guys were lightning quicker than the Mercedes, quicker than the Red Bulls, quicker than almost anyone.
Exactly, yeah, it's been cool to see that, to see yourself in purple in those sectors. It's been helpful as well to try and pass cars, to try and pass Alex in the end. I used all that straight line speed I needed, so yeah, very positive. We are very happy. Obviously, next week it's going to smell good.
Great job, man. We'll see you next week.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Brilliant job from Esteban today. We'll talk about that in a minute because we've got more drivers coming in straight away. Sergio Perez, hello Checo. A P10 today. Not exactly what you guys wanted. I know you looked so quick at the start of the weekend. Where did that pace go?
I don't know, man. I was so confident after Friday. We had a very strong Friday, good sensations here and there, but things just got away from us. Plenty of things to analyze and see what we are able to do better.
Do you think you'll be able to pull it through for Monza? It's only in a couple of days' time, but theoretically should suit you.
Yeah, but it's also a similar package, very low downforce. So I think our low downforce package doesn't seem to be working as good as we think. So yeah, a lot of things to look out for Monza, and hopefully we can get good answers and get back to our rhythm, and hopefully we can be back at scoring big points.
You had some interesting battles in the race today. We're just going to have a little look down here. Your move on Seb was quite nice as you fought back through the field. The alternate strategy today for you. Did you enjoy making your moves back through the field?
Yeah, I did enjoy. Obviously, I was hoping to make more progress. I went on a very different strategy to everyone else. That move on Seb, yeah, was very, very late, but obviously very experienced, very good driver, and it's nice to be able to race wheel to wheel with good drivers.
Well done, man. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. Thanks, Checo. No time to digest that. We'll discuss it in a minute because Lando's on board. Lando, what a close to the race. A P7 at the flag for you, but it looked like a lot of fun. Where did that pace come from at the end?
I mean, a couple of things really. I guess the first half of the race, the wind was playing a bit of a part, and it doesn't suit us so well. The low downforce, the wind is not helping us at all. So the first half was just very tricky, and we were slow as a matter of fact. And the only thing I could do was try and save tyres when I was stuck behind Lance in the middle. I didn't have the clear pace advantage to get past, so it was 10-15 laps of just tyre saving and not pushing. And then obviously the guys doing the two-stop or the one-stop like Gasly, who were coming at us a lot, or coming at me a lot in the end of the race. So I pushed on, and then Lance started to make some mistakes and struggle with the tyres, and I had the advantage. So the perseverance in the middle of the race and the stage of just pure tyre saving played a big part in the pace at the end, but I was just one lap too late.
Obviously, your teammate didn't even make the start of the race. How worried were you? How worried was the team of a similar issue occurring for you?
They were pretty worried. We didn't have any power modes or engine modes today, so made my life a lot more difficult with overtakes when I had a chance, like on Stroll. So was a bit of a struggle, I think, probably compared to the Mercedes guys or the Ferrari guys, just because we were a bit more limited and taking it a bit more conservative with the engine. But yeah, it's never ideal when you don't start a race, so I feel a bit sorry for him, but I gained a position, so it was all right.
No engine mode's good preparation for next week, I guess.
Exactly. We'll see.
Thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate it. Thank you, Lando. Right, I think we can actually draw breath now, Stoffel, and look back over the race. As we said, it was Lewis first, Valtteri second, Max came home P3, behind them Daniel Ricciardo fourth, Esteban Ocon fifth. Actually, let's take a look at the results. Let's have a look. We can go through all the results here. Stoffel, as we were saying, Lewis with a brilliant win, wasn't he? He was just unstoppable today.
Yeah, exactly. You know, dominant 1-2 from Mercedes again. Kind of the usual top three almost, you know, when we look at it. Lewis, Valtteri, Max third. And then, yeah, both Renaults. Great result from them. They've been on the pace since practice. And yeah, it was good to see them confirm that pace in qualifying and today in the race again. Then we have Alex Albon, a better weekend for him. Lando Norris, as he just described his own race, pretty lonely and got in the fight at the end. Pierre Gasly, actually really good performance from him again today.
Yeah.
I think he got a bit unlucky with the safety car.
Agreed.
I think he could have finished higher up.
Yeah, absolutely. Pierre Gasly was voted driver of the day today. Deservedly so, I think. But another story we're going to have to talk about. Vettel P13, Leclerc P14, not even the top-ranked Ferrari-powered car of the day. That honour goes to Kimi Räikkönen instead. Let's talk about Gasly. He had a wonderful race. As you say, the safety car actually called him out. He was so quick on the hard tyres at the start of the race, and then that safety car kind of cost him. We'll talk about that, though, in a minute, because we've got more drivers coming in. Daniel Ricciardo. Hello, chap.
Hello.
So near to Cyril getting a tattoo today. P4. It's just one more place, and Cyril's got to get inked.
Yeah, I tried. Like, the last lap was maybe the fastest lap I've ever done in my life. I don't know.
He only tried the last lap, you know.
I really tried, but no, the whole stint I was pushing, and then we knew what the fastest lap was, and my engineer said, all right, you can use the battery and try and do what you can. So I couldn't have repeated that every lap, but yeah, we're getting there. I'm just like, why can't Mercedes have a failure or something? You know, you normally don't wish it upon anyone, but why not?
It was a brilliant job from you today, Daniel. One very quick question. Is this the same kind of form that you can take through to Monza, to Mugello? Is this where we're going to be seeing Renault over the coming races?
Yeah, I think so. You know, Mugello's an unknown, but Monza I think we can. And look, obviously I just joked about it. The truth is, as much as I want the podium, I want to earn it on track, you know, and we were good enough for fourth today, so, you know, I'm happy with that, and I'm going to take that. Yeah, Monza, maybe we can get ahead of Max and steal the last spot on the podium. We'll see.
Great job, man. Thanks for coming on.
Merci.
Appreciate it. And I think before too much longer, we got the guy that we were talking about today, driver of the day. Dude, if it wasn't for social distancing, I'd give you a hug. What an amazing drive. A beautiful drive. We were asking the question earlier, how much did the safety car hurt you today?
Yeah, to be fair, I think it cost us P5 because we knew before the race the worst time for the safety car for us obviously was between lap 8 and 20 because it gave a free pit stop to the other guys. But I think from where we started was a great strategy. Just got a bit unlucky with that, and I mean, at the end it gave us a really exciting race. Was 4th, 5th during the safety car. Back to P last, I don't know, like I was behind all the other guys, and yeah, I had some great moves, so no, I really enjoyed.
One amazing move right at the start of the race. Checo, a little naughty on the way down into Eau Rouge, and you just kept your foot in.
It was naughty. It was really naughty. Honestly, yeah, he squeezed me. I don't know. I didn't see from outside, but from inside, I was like, I don't have any more space on my right, and I could see him coming on the left. And I was committed. I wasn't going to lift, so I just stayed flat. And then I was hoping for him to say, like, just to stop because we didn't have much more space left. And yeah, I was pretty happy to make it stick.
It was a great move. It was a really gutsy drive as well, as referenced by your Driver of the Day award. The fans loved watching you out there. How much did you enjoy just getting out there, getting your elbows out and battling, and particularly at the start on the harder tyres? You were a rocket ship.
Yeah, we thought it would be difficult in the first few laps, and yeah, in the end, I just pushed as hard as I could and make few places. I think I moved from P12 to P8 initially, and that was a great race. And personally, obviously, was an important one for me with what's happened to Antoine. So since the start of the weekend was quite difficult emotionally, and I really wanted to do well. So I gave everything, and in the end, I'm happy to get these few points for him.
You did him proud. Well done,
Thanks,
man.
man.
Thanks for
Thank
coming on. Driver of the day, deservedly so.
Definitely well deserved, yes.
Yeah, he was phenomenal, and to be able to push, to get those lap times out at the start on the hard tyre when the majority were on the soft, was really unexpected.
Yeah, exactly. I was a bit surprised by his pace in the beginning. You know, obviously made a great start and made up a couple of places to put himself in a great position, and then just the pace seemed there. He seemed to be very comfortable at that time, and then the safety car just came out at the worst time. So it would have been interesting to see how he would have got on with those medium tires at the end of the race without a safety car.
As he said, they were worried about the safety car coming out between lap 8 and 20. Is exactly when it came out and really cost him. Now, we are going to be discussing a lot more to come, but we're going to roll back to the studio because Rosanna and Sam are going to look back over the crucial start of the race, a number of the moves that ultimately led to the result as it panned out. Guys, it was a really fascinating start, and particularly looking at Daniel Ricciardo and Max Verstappen at the start there. Could it, do you think, have shaped out any differently?
Hi Will, hi Stoffel, hello everybody. Yes, Sam and I have been looking back over the race and we thought the start was a good place to begin. The battle between Daniel Ricciardo and Max Verstappen, as Will said, did that cost them the chance at a win or a second place, or do you think the Mercedes were too far ahead, Sam?
I don't think it took a win away from them because the Mercedes was so fast in the middle sector. But when you look at the start off the line, this is what we're talking about. So it's the cars in third and fourth rather going in there. They're scrapping with each other and letting the Mercedes get away scot-free and give each other a tow down through Eau Rouge and Radion and up to the Kemmel Straight. But watch it start again and you can just see that getaway from those two cars. They had the opportunity to get in amongst the Mercedes and Verstappen thought about it, but then he had a Renault to deal with, and that really was the last they saw of the back end of those cars.
How much do you think Mercedes had planned that start in terms of choreographing where Valtteri should put his nose in context to Lewis's rear?
Well, there were some radio messages during the race that Bottas perhaps hadn't listened in the meeting, but they'd sort of agreed what they were going to do in the race, and I noticed every time Hamilton dropped back or pushed forward, Bottas would just maintain that gap between the two Mercedes. So it was very much team ordery, line astern sort of running, and it just showed when you're able to do that, that shows quite a lot of superiority.
It was a little bit, wasn't it? Well, we hope we'll see more racy behaviour between the two of them coming up in the next few weeks. Let's talk again about Pierre Gasly. Will's just been talking to him, of course, driver of the day. That move was sensational between him and Sergio Perez. Of course, Perez has had experience there, going wheel to wheel with his former teammate Esteban Ocon. But what does this tell us about the AlphaTauri, especially when we're heading to a place like Monza next weekend?
Well, do you remember those comments at Suzuka a while back from Fernando Alonso talking about the GP2 engine when he was in the McLaren, getting very angry with the poor performance of the Honda? Well, you'll see this is AlphaTauri with that Honda engine is just punching a hole in the air all the way around the circuit, and it is absolutely flying around this circuit. It's got such good power. It's got really great power. The team have trimmed out that car. It's got really high top end and it's just blasting past everybody.
And it's relentless. I mean, Pierre was able to pull manoeuvre after manoeuvre this afternoon, obviously having to then go backwards and fight his way forwards again. So the reliability is great as well. I
mean, Honda are going to be very, very happy with this performance at one of the most power-dominated circuits of the season. But going to Monza, the AlphaTauri's home race, don't forget, as Toro Rosso, they've won, races.
It's a long time ago with Sebastian Vettel at the helm, but it is possible. Do you think a podium could be possible next weekend?
Absolutely, because it's possible, but there is another problem. There is another car out there with a Honda power plant, and it's got a guy called Max Verstappen at the wheel. And
he's quite good.
Yeah, he's got some experience, so he could be very, very competitive around there. So I really think both the Honda engine teams from that performance are going to be strong, but it looks like the AlphaTauri chassis and aerodynamics package is slightly better on these slippery, low downforce circuits, low drag circuits. So I really think there's going to be something quite exciting next week. Well,
it was super exciting to watch this weekend, that manoeuvre from Pierre, and as you said, well, he has been voted driver of the day. We'll get analysing some more incidents and we'll be back very shortly.
Thanks, Rosanna, and thank you, Sam. Oh, I don't know if you can see, but the wind's picking up, and it's very difficult to see wind on a camera. But the wind is picking up, the weather is rolling in. We thought the rain would come at about 5 o'clock. It's 10 minutes late. We needed a bit of rain in the race, didn't we, to spice things up?
Yeah, we did need a little bit of rain, but as usual, it seems like it's going to come after the race.
I tell you, one team that I think were praying for rain, praying for anything just to try and shake up their day was Ferrari. Qualifying, it looked for all the world like they were going to struggle to get out of Q1. The fact that they got out of Q1 seemed like a miracle. But today, despite Leclerc's amazing start to get up as high as he did, I think P7 at one point.
Or P9, P8 or 9, something like that.
Nothing on the straight. Absolutely nothing. They finished out of the points in P13 and P14. A dreadful pit stop. Confusion over strategy. What is going on at Ferrari?
It's hard to believe that they are running in that position. I mean, they're really a disaster weekend for them. They were slow in all practice sessions, like you said. It looked like they weren't even going to make it into Q2. They just about managed to do that. But overall, a very poor showing. I mean, nothing seemed to go right. They had no pace. Pit stops were difficult, and operationally, it just didn't look like anything was put together.
A very, very difficult weekend. Let's talk to Charles Leclerc. He, of course, race winner here 12 months ago. Today, not even in the points.
How frustrating it was for you to face a race like that today?
Well, extremely frustrating. It's been a very difficult weekend for us. And the race was not any easier. We've had issues on the 2 pit stops I've made, which made me lose quite a lot of lap times and positions. Then I tried to catch back, but it's very difficult for us to overtake, even with the DRS. So, yeah, we need to work and find something, because like this, it's very difficult.
Not an easy weekend for Charles Leclerc or for Ferrari, and of course they've got it all again in a couple of days' time at Monza. Rosanna and Sam, I know that you guys want to look more at this in depth. Really, a litany of errors, an impossibly difficult weekend for a team which has been the dominant force here in Spa over the last 2 years.
Almost 365 days ago, it was Charles Leclerc on the top step of the podium. Obviously, it was a difficult day back then, but this weekend is a difficult weekend. It's a difficult season. What is going on with Ferrari? Because Charles Leclerc almost looked like he just glazed over there while he was talking to Mara.
I mean, difficult's an understatement. It was a disaster. Let's be frank. It was an unmitigated disaster from front to end for Ferrari. They had pit stop woes. Something went wrong in the power unit department. I think they had to plug in the car. And, you know, you just look at this. I mean, AlphaTauri, that is Italy's second Formula One team. It used to be Minardi, blitzing past the Ferrari on a straight. They've got no engine power. The car's actually slower around this circuit than last year's car, where everybody else is quicker. I mean, there's lots of rumours as to why that is, but it's not just the power unit. The aero doesn't work. They trimmed the car out for wet weather running. It didn't rain. Just anything that could go wrong is going wrong for Ferrari. And if my surname was Binotto, I would be very, very unhappy.
Well, we heard during the race, and we saw, of course, during Charles' pit stop, the pneumatic pressure being changed by the mechanics. What does that mean for the engine? What are they actually doing there? OK, it's going right. If it's what I think it is, you're going deep inside the valve train of the engine. So in your normal car, you've got the valves at the top of the cylinder head that opens the exhaust and the fuel in, and you get that mixture in. So those haven't got springs on anymore. It's pneumatic, so there's a little air spring. And if you've got an air leak in there, you'll start to lose performance. So you have to top up the air bottle sometimes. Just keep topping it up, Ferrari.
Yeah, and it was noticeable. They topped it up and Leclerc came back out and was suddenly really quick again. So I think he was losing pace through that pit stop, and it was just... But the thing is, well, they've got reliability issues, they've got performance issues. The only thing that is performing is Charles Leclerc. Actually, one of their drivers isn't performing particularly well, which is Sebastian Vettel. The sooner they change something drastic for that team, the better. Unfortunately, the homologation regulations mean they can't change very much ahead of next season. This is a long, difficult period for Ferrari, and when they had those troubles, I saw Carlos Sainz put his head in his hands because he's got to deal with all of this.
Is there anything before next weekend they can do in terms of car setup, the different drag scenario for Monza? Obviously, it's a very power-hungry circuit.
I mean, they can try all sorts of things, but the best thing they can do as Ferrari, they're based in Italy, is go to Vatican City and pray.
Well, that would be fantastic viewing, I'm sure. We'll have at that. Mattia Binotto heading off to the Vatican, perhaps.
That's a hell of a line, Sam. I'm going to steal that. Very, very good. Stoffel, Vatican City, go and see the Pope. It's the only thing Ferrari can do right now, isn't it?
Well, it seems like, yes, seems like it.
Unbelievable, unbelievable. Of course, as we were saying, last 2 years, Ferrari have been in the ascendancy here, and it was only really Lewis that could pose a threat, pose a challenge to Ferrari in terms of the race win. With no Ferrari posing a threat to anybody today, given that they were out of the points, Lewis really was in a class of his own, in a field of his own. You're inside that team, you see what's going on at Mercedes. How good is Lewis Hamilton at the moment?
I mean, he's incredible. He's an incredible talent. I think he's got, such a great feel for the car, and really what is impressive is even when he's not 100% comfortable, he still manages to find a way around the issue, and still, whenever that lap in Q3 needs to be there, he just pulls it out, and then obviously starting from pole position makes everyone's life easier. He can look after the tires. He just has everything under control from that moment on.
And we were talking about this before we came on air. It looks very likely now that he will break Michael Schumacher's records this season, that he will match Michael on 7 World Championships. It seems fitting that he's having a Michael-esque kind of year, that he could wrap this thing up, by just over halfway through the championship season. It's like a 2002-2004 type Michael season. Would you agree that it's that kind of year, it's that kind of a dominance where everything comes together? It's driver, team, car, the whole package.
I mean, it's certainly what it looks like, but don't forget Valtteri and don't forget Max as well. They are always there. It's always the same podium. It's they're always second, third. Once it's Valtteri that is winning, once it's Max that is winning, and if there is going to be technical gremlins coming into play, that's where it might bite him, let's say. But if you look pure on performance, it's going to be very difficult for anyone to beat him.
Well, this is it, and Lewis has said without Max's DNF in the first race in Austria, Max would be very much more in contention for the championship. All it needs is one DNF for Lewis.
Yeah.
The whole thing shrinks back up again. Talking about Max, let's hear from Max. 3rd place on the road at the flag today. Max Verstappen on the podium here in Spa.
Max, how difficult was it today to fight against the speed of Mercedes?
Well, it was not really a fight, I was just trying to do my own race, because quite quickly I could see I could not really follow them. And I tried to put a bit of pressure on Valtteri on the hard tire, but then at one point they told him to speed up, and that was it. Then they pulled away again. Then also I started to have a lot of vibrations and understeer, so I decided to just spec it out and bring it to the finish. Yeah, it was not ideal, but it's what it is.
But can you comment the fight against your ex-teammate Daniel at the beginning of the race? How was it?
Yeah, we gave each other space, so it was all good. Yeah, it was.
But funny, I mean, positive side.
Was it? I don't know, not for me, but yeah, it's okay. You just pay attention to each other and then you just go.
Can you be satisfied about your weekend, Max?
No, I think overall we had a good weekend. Yeah, just today it was a bit boring just because we couldn't push on the tires. They just dropped off really quick.
Good result for Max today. As you said, it's Max and Valtteri really fighting against Lewis. Do you think it's Max that's making the difference, or the car that's putting him there at the moment? What I mean is, the other side of the garage, is Albon's pace the true pace potential of the car and Max is drawing out something extra, or is the car in Max's hands where it should be and Alex is a little bit under what it should be?
It's probably a little bit of both. I think for sure the car is not at the level as Mercedes.
Yeah.
Max is doing an incredible job. He's really set within the team. He knows exactly what he's dealing with, and he's extracting every weekend really the maximum out of it, and he's doing the best he can. Whilst Alex is struggling a little bit more in qualifying trim, which then immediately makes his race a little bit more difficult. He's stuck behind cars, needs to use the tires a little bit more. So yeah, I think that's probably the key point where he needs to work on.
Absolutely. Let's talk then to the man who came home second today, Valtteri Bottas, with another podium, but not quite with enough in the tank to take the fight to Lewis Hamilton.
Valtteri, if we start with the start, some great defending from you to try and make sure that you kept the Red Bull at bay, but as the rest of the race panned out, we heard a message over the radio about we agreed not to push, and you said I didn't hear that. What was that about?
Yes, obviously, with how you manage the energy, there's different kind of options. I think I must have not heard it or something, that we can't use it against each other, but anyway, fair enough. Other than that, really, I was a bit disappointed with the lack of toe effect today into turn 5. I was really expecting to be a big difference being in the toe, and like in the safety car restart, exiting turn 1, I was sure that I'm going to get him up the hill, but I just couldn't catch him on the straight. So I think those were the only opportunities today, and there was no other way.
So then, are you then just sitting in second and managing tyres and managing your position for the rest of the race? Is that all you could do?
Yeah, it's tough here to follow in sector 2, and always when you're behind you destroy your tyres. I think both me and Lewis were pretty critical towards the end of the race with the front tyres. Again, getting the vibration like we got in Silverstone before the failure, but I'm glad we could make it to the end.
Stoff, Valtteri, that radio call, he said he wanted to use the push button. How much of a boost does that give you? How much?
It would have given him definitely a bit of extra power and maybe a chance of overtaking into turn 5. You know, that's probably where he would have used it. But I don't think at any point he was actually close enough to really make a move or where it would have made a difference. So yeah, it never really came into play.
It's not like the star in Mario Kart. You don't push it and you.
No. I think that's what they're wishing for.
There is no magic button. There needs to be, though, to try and beat Lewis Hamilton. Once again, serene on track today. Another race win as he takes another step towards World Championship number 7. Let's hear from the man who could not be beaten in qualifying or the race, Lewis Hamilton.
Lewis, many congratulations.
Thank you.
You're looking unbeatable at the moment. I heard you mention just there that you made a couple of mistakes today, but we very rarely see them. What were the mistakes today? We saw one bit where you went wide, but the tyres were going off. Everyone was struggling at that point.
Yeah. It wasn't really like not focused, really mistakes. There was just small lockup, which ends up being longer because you have to come off the pedal to stop the lockup. So then you run wide. So I had that the last corner, and I had a small little nip into turn 5, which really wasn't a problem. So otherwise, it was pretty good. I don't know how people feel about the start and the restart, but those two are really, really stressful. When you're in the lead, you're the one that controls the pace, and being able to catch the guy behind sleeping on the restart is not easy. But I managed to get a good gap from him, and then he had a huge toe. Luckily, I had a big enough gap to him going into Eau Rouge that he wasn't able to catch at the straight. The start was horrible because it doesn't matter how good your start is off the grid. When you come around turn 1, they're a car length behind you, and then they tow and slipstream you off into turn 5. But I managed just to balance it just right out of turn 1, keeping right, and he ended up being really close to me. And I don't know if maybe he lifted or something like that, but. Yeah, this is really just remarkable what the team is doing and what we're doing together. We're continuing to really push the envelope, push the technology to the maximum, and it feels great to really finish on a high this weekend. Particularly, as I said yesterday, with Chad dying, I really wanted to deliver because he made everyone feel like a superhero. So, yeah.
You've got a 47-point cushion now. Nice big 47-point cushion going to Italy.
To second?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, my maths could be wrong, but you've got 157, I think, and Max is 110.
Wow.
So it's a really nice cushion going into Italy. At the moment, Red Bull look like the only ones who can bring the challenge to you, but even they today struggled on the tyres at the end. Are you surprised that no one else has been able to try and do something to break into this lead you've got?
Well, what you got to look at with the Red Bulls, I think they've got a very good car, and I think people downplay it, but they've got a very, very strong car, and Max is doing a great job with it. Unfortunately, both drivers aren't there, like me and Valtteri are there. That makes it harder for them. I've experienced it many years ago when I was at McLaren, and I was the driver that was always at the front and didn't have a teammate backing up, so you equally don't get the constructors' points, but then can't play strategy on the cars that you're racing against. So they've got that, so he's kind of there on his own. And I mean, today it's really tyres, everyone's doing a one-stop. This one-stop whole thing really is boring. And then at the end of the day, we're just all managing out there, which is not this is not racing, We're all managing. At the end, everyone's backing off so that the tyres don't deflate, blow up, whatever. We have no idea what they're going to do. I was worried that it might do the same thing as Silverstone, so I backed off, but maybe it would have been fine. But it was too big a risk to take because I had the lead. Of course, I really, really would like to have more of a fight, but that's not on me. I've just got to keep doing, and we've got to keep doing what we're doing.
Great job today, though. Well done. Thank you.
It's amazing. Lewis Hamilton in confident and positive mood is impossible to stop talking. You can tell when he's had a good day, when he talks that freely and openly. Back to the studio. Rosanna, Lewis Hamilton, what an inspiring performance from him once again this weekend. Absolutely crushing dominance.
Crushing dominance, Will. But Sam, you've been looking at the data and you were looking at various screens throughout the race, and you think there was a little chink in his armour today. Where was it and what was it?
Yeah, it was something a little bit subtle. He got on the radio after the safety car came out and he just said he was feeling a loss of power or something like that, and the team came back to him and said, "No, don't worry about it, it's just the energy recovery system." And I thought at first it wasn't that, and it was. Then I went and looked at the data, and then consistently after that point, he was 200 to 300 RPM down on Valtteri Bottas, and he was also the slowest car through the speed trap of everybody for the rest of the race. So he was losing 10 and 15 kph out to some cars, which is huge. But the Mercedes is trimmed out for high downforce. It's quite quick in the middle sector where he was making his time. He was much slower than for the AlphaTauris, for example, in sector 1, which you sort of expect with a setup like that. But it didn't seem right. And every time he started to lose pace and have a wobble with those tyres, as I mentioned earlier, Valtteri Bottas dropped back. And I think that was a key to something going on there.
Do you think it's got anything to do with saving engines, though, or you think it's more of a problem?
I think it's a problem, not an engine-saving thing. And there was that moment I mentioned right at the top of the show where Valtteri Bottas said he did have a magic button that's a bit like Mario Kart, actually, which is going to be, this is the last race, this is the last time it would have been allowed to be used in Formula 1 this season. They do have that overtake, they have that boost mode. And Valtteri Bottas was asking if he could use it, and he was 1.1 seconds behind Hamilton at that point. Had he used it, that little boost would have got him those 2 tenths. Then he was in DRS range, and that could have changed the complexion of the race completely. But Bottas was told by Mercedes not to use it. He was clearly not pressuring Hamilton. And I think that was a predetermined decision by Mercedes to protect Hamilton, who clearly had some sort of issue in the power unit. And I think that's when they were sort of protecting him and the power unit, which doesn't bode well for Monza.
Ooh, all very interesting things to consider as we go forward to the Italian Grand Prix. Of course, another thing that could have changed the outcome of the race was the safety car that we had off the back of the crash between Antonio Giovinazzi and George Russell. George tweeted and put on Instagram afterwards how happy he was that he had the halo and that Formula 1 now has that as part of the safety mechanisms. What happened there with Antonio's car, and also that wheel not being quite as safe as perhaps it should have been?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. It was a heavy impact where he came out of the corner and he just made a mistake. You can see it on your screens at the moment, and he just comes out of the corner, and we saw him go off to the right. The onboard from Russell is a bit more telling. Now look for the wheel that Russell hits, bouncing across the track. He was if he hadn't got the halo on board, and it didn't, I don't think it actually hit the halo. Then you saw the Alpha driver made the mistake here, and he probably wondered why Russell had crashed, because he didn't realise the wheel had flown off. In the front suspension of these cars, there are these really super strong tethers built in, which are supposed to stop the wheels flying off and bouncing around the track. So it's supposed to stop exactly this scenario. So it's going to be something interesting for the FIA to look at the mounting points, because the whole front corner, the brakes and the front suspension came away from the chassis. That shouldn't be allowed to happen. And the reason we have halo was directly the result of an accident like that in the previous iteration of Formula 2 at Brands Hatch, which sadly killed Henry Surtees. That's where halo originally came from. And I think the FIA are going to have to take a very, very close and detailed look at that Alfa Romeo monocoque to understand why that wheel tether came across.
Well, we'll have to keep an eye on that over the coming weeks. Will, that is it from me and Sam in the studio. Back to you guys out in Spa.
Thanks so much, Rosanna. As the old adage says, if it's not raining in Spa, it's getting ready to rain. And with that in mind, we're going to wrap this bad boy up. Let's go to the standings at the end of the Belgian Grand Prix Championship, looking like it's only going in one direction, and that is back into the hands of Lewis Hamilton. He sits at the top of the standings on 157 points from Max Verstappen on 110. Valtteri Bottas now just 3 points behind on 107. Alex Albon's up in fourth on 48, 3 points ahead of Charles Leclerc, now equal on points with Lando Norris. Lance Stroll in P7 on 42. Then Daniel Ricciardo and Sergio Perez levelling it out on 33 in 8th and 9th. Esteban Ocon popping up into P10 on 26 points behind them. Carlos Sainz in 11th and Gasly up to 12th. Vettel 13th. Hulkenberg, Giovinazzi, Kvyat, Magnussen. Magnussen with the last point there. For Haas. In the Constructors' Championship, it's, again, only going to one place at the moment, and that is back to Brackley. Mercedes at the top on 264, Red Bull 158. Then this brilliant battle that's emerging between McLaren, Racing Point, and they're starting to move away from Ferrari. 68 plays 66, Ferrari on 61. Renault now just 2 points behind Ferrari at the start of the season. We couldn't have imagined that. Stoffel, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. We haven't had time yet to congratulate you on your race win at the end of the season. Great to see you standing back on the top step of the podium. Have you spoken to Lando Norris yet about champagne etiquette? Because that was
Yes,
you could have smashed. You could have cut your hand, man.
I did cut my hand.
Did you actually?
I did cut. Yeah, no, it's all fine. You know, it's nothing happened. But yeah, it's definitely something I got to do better. But hopefully, I'll get more practice of that next season.
You've got to get it like. Not on the side,
straight.
just flat down.
I'll try again next time.
Absolutely. Well, and we hope very much that there will be a next time. It all seems to be gelling for you guys at the end of that season.
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely a good improvement. You know, first year for Mercedes, and to get away with a couple of podiums, a victory at the final race, and second in the championship was definitely a great start. So hopefully we can fight for the championship next year.
Brilliant stuff, man. Hope so. And as I said, brilliant just to see you back to winning ways, because it's where you deserve to be. Thank you for joining us, man. Thank you for your insight and your input as always. We thank you for watching, as we always do. Thanks to Sam and Rosanna, and thanks to our friends at Sky for conducting the interviews in the pen for us today. We will be back in a few days' time at the Temple of Speed in Monza. Have Ferrari done enough praying over the next few days to make something good out of what looks to be a pretty dire situation? Time will tell. Thanks for following along, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in Italy. From Stoff, from me. We'll see you later.
Thank you.